Okay, welcome back. Happy Friday. Today was NFP. I want to focus purely on the market and what actually occurred. Today I'm going to break down, the price action, going through the key levels I had marked and go through how they reacted and interacted with them. I also took a tape read sell earlier today. I did upload that out so you can check that video. I'm not going to go too in depth on that. But for this month, I'm mainly focusing on tape reading, just stripping things back and just trying to read the price in front of me, trying to improve my executions without forcing a trade, especially for the month of August, considering it is known to be the month where it's generally very slow. I know it hasn't been for the first week, but let's see how things go. So let's get into the charts and see what NFP gave us today. And I'm going to start off with the daily time frame as usual. Looking at the daily time frame, the key levels I had marked out were previous day low, previous day high, and we had the rejection block for yesterday. And I marked out that with the Fibonacci, the upper quadrant and the lower quadrant. Same again on the 5th of August. We had the rejection block on the lower quadrant and the upper quadrant. Yesterday, essentially, we tapped into the daily inefficiency, and from there, we kind of rejected. So, primarily, the bias was bullish. On top of that, NFP came out bullish for the indices. Okay, I will quickly drop down to the hourly time frame. However, I do think the details are more in the 15-minute and lower. But yeah, we were basically in a range for majority of the day until 8:30 broke out, which was expected. We had some relative equal lows, which have not been taken yet, and we didn't come close to the upper quadrant or the lower quadrant. Okay. Keep an eye on the previous day high level because you can see that being mitigated and taken multiple times. I'm going to go on to the 15-minute time frame here, and let's focus on what occurred. Okay. In this price leg, we've got this order block we've created, and then at 8:30 the market created a massive inefficiency. Okay, a massive fair value gap. However, we did reach target and the lower quadrant. What I normally like to see is if the market is moving, if the market is going to disrespect this level, to see momentum within that level, but we were unable to push through it. As you can say, okay, wasn't able to push through the resistance. So we created a fair value gap to the downside as well. And we also, if you know, had no liquidity sweep. So there was no lows that were taken. You can see over here. So this is where you form your narrative and understand if there's not been a liquidity sweep, there is no point in you buying in this 15-minute gap, because this 15-minute gap is what's going to push price lower. And if we were bullish, I would have expected more momentum on the 1-minute time frame, but we weren't having that. And this is where I formed my trade narrative, where we were looking for internal range liquidity to external range liquidity. Okay. So I'm going to drop down to the 1-minute time frame so we can get a further. This was 9:30. Market taps and mitigates previous day high again. Okay. You can see over here, we tap into previous day high, and this is essentially another Judas swing. I talked about it yesterday, but we can see 9:30 created a Judas swing price leg, and it essentially would have brought in a lot of buyers. Okay, so a lot of people would have tried to buy over here, but this is where I was talking about where there was a lack of momentum to go higher with these failure swing highs. So it essentially was showing us that it was bearish. And one more thing I wanted to add was if we go onto the 5-minute time frame, we do a Fibonacci, we can see we come back into this lower range of the quadrant for the London range. Okay. And on top of that, we was a 4-hour fair value gap, which after 10 a.m. the market created. So we go back onto the 1-minute time frame. We can see over here as well, we had a turtle soup of this low. And what is a turtle soup? A turtle soup is a fake entry given before the real move occurs. So this low is classed as your liquidity sweep, and It's basically trapped in early buyers. It gives you an entry confirmation that it wants to go higher, and then before you know it, it takes that low out, and then it comes into your key level, takes out major sell side liquidity, and then it starts pushing price higher. When it came to today's price action, I can say it gave some A plus setups if you knew what you were doing. It is very, very difficult to navigate on an NFP day, especially when it's range bound. Okay. Overall, it's been a very solid end to the week. There's a lot of things where you can see where price is reacting at certain levels, remitigating certain levels, and how you can just potentially catch and build a narrative through momentum. So that's it from me today. Hope you have a good day and all the best. Take care. Speak to you soon.